Hold on.
My niece Ashley, who very much posted her videos on social media with some accusations about her family.
This was not the first time of me telling this story. This has been years. It started me telling this story when my sister passed away. So this is like years of me getting to this point, to this layer. I always stand true by what I said. I always stand true by what happened. And I don't know if there was a right or wrong way, the way I handled it. I don't think that there was. And with what I speak with my therapist with, there was no right or wrong way to tell the story. I just had to.
Tamar Braxton thought she could keep this one quiet. Towanda swore she'd never speak on it. And Michael Jr.? Oh, he's been hiding like he's in witness protection. But somehow this entire mess still leaked, and what's pouring out now is nastier than a Braxton family Thanksgiving after somebody brings up old contracts, because let's be real. What really happened between Towanda and Michael Jr.? Why did Tamar suddenly start throwing shade-coated posts at 2 a.m.? And why is every family unity statement sounding like it was written by a crisis PR intern who hasn't slept in 3 days? Something snapped behind the scenes, and insiders are whispering that this wasn't just a disagreement. It was a full-on Braxton-level implosion, screaming, receipts, accusations, and a secret that apparently had Tamar pacing the hallway like she was rehearsing for a courtroom drama. And the craziest part? Every time they tried to bury this scandal, another leak came out. Like the universe was saying, nope, run it back. Let the people KNOW, so buckle up. Because what I'm about to break down might blow open the biggest Braxton family scandal of 2025. From the outside, the Braxtons always try to present this calm, polished, family-first energy. But anybody who's been watching long enough knows that behind the scenes, it's usually one wrong comment away from becoming a full-blown soap opera. And this new mess between Towanda and Michael Jr.? Yeah, this isn't just another little family spat. This is the kind of drama that goes from private disagreement to somebody leaking voice notes at midnight in record time. And the way Tamar got dragged right into the center of it? Let's just say her silence was loud enough to become its own scandal. It all started quietly. Towanda had been laying low for weeks, almost suspiciously low. No shade, no clapbacks, no mysterious subliminals that make you wonder if she's talking about a family member or a utility company. Just silence. And when Towanda goes silent, that's usually the universe telling you to brace yourself. Because she only disappears when something is brewing, and this time the storm was forming right inside the family circle. Michael Jr., meanwhile, has always been the one people overlook. The calm one. The chill one. The one who doesn't run to Instagram live every time he stubs his toe. But even he was moving strange. Showing up at events without Towanda. Posting cryptic quotes about betrayal. Unfollowing, refollowing, then unfollowing again like he was sending Morse code through social media activity. And you could tell something was off because fans noticed instantly. People started commenting. Why does Michael look stressed? Where's Towanda? Why is Tamar liking shady tweets at 3 a.m.? It didn't take long for the Braxton internet detectives to start stitching clues together like they were solving a cold case. Then came the night everything blew open. A leak, a real one. Not the usual my cousin's friend said type of rumor, but an actual leaked phone call. A conversation that insiders swear came straight from someone close to the situation. And that call made it very clear that something went down between Towanda and Michael Jr. Something explosive enough that Tamar got looped in whether she wanted to or not. The voice on the recording sounded like someone trying very hard to stay calm while holding back the kind of rage that only comes from betrayal. And while names were bleeped out, fans were quick to connect the dots. The leak hinted at a falling out that wasn't small. It wasn't simple. It wasn't something you fix with a family meeting and a hug. It hinted at accusations, something that had been building quietly for months. Something that Michael Jr. had allegedly been hiding. Something Towanda apparently found out about in the worst way possible. According to one anonymous insider who claims to have been there that night, What started as a conversation turned into shouting, receipts being waved around, and Tamar running down the hallway like she was trying to stop a plot twist from going public. And here's the part that made fans lose their minds. The insider also claimed that Tamar wasn't just a beast. She allegedly confronted Michael Jr., demanding answers, pressing him like she was the lead attorney in a reality TV courtroom. Witnesses say Tamar was pacing, hands on hips, firing questions so fast that Michael couldn't even finish a sentence before the next one landed. And Towanda? She wasn't backing down either. People described the energy in the room as historic-level Braxton chaos, tension so thick it could have been sliced and served at the dinner table, of course. The family tried to present a united front after the leak. They always do. Towanda made a passive-aggressive statement about protecting peace. Michael Jr. posted a picture of a sunrise like he had just finished meditation camp. Tamar pretended nothing happened, focusing on her shows and her music while fans flooded her comments asking what went down. But the damage was done, because once a leak like that hits the internet, you can't take it back. People start speculating, screenshots start circulating, and the truth gets twisted into 50 different versions before breakfast. But the most suspicious part wasn't the leak itself, it was the timing that came after. Towanda unfollowed Michael Jr., Michael Jr. unfollowed Towanda. Tamar unfollowed both of them for exactly 24 hours, then refollowed them, then pretended nothing happened. And that's when you know it's real. Because the Braxtons might shade each other, but unfollowing? That's the digital equivalent of flipping the table at the reunion. Sources close to the family say the argument wasn't just about one incident. It was a pileup of issues that had been ignored for too long: money, trust, loyalty, and something about a private family deal that Michael Jr. allegedly mishandled. Towanda apparently found out through someone else instead of from him directly, which is why she felt blindsided. And Tamar? Tamar was furious not because of the deal, but because she felt dragged into the fallout without being warned. Multiple insiders claim she told both of them, "Don't bring me into something y'all created," which immediately made fans wonder just how deep the problem went. The argument reportedly got so intense that security had to step in, not to break up a fight, but to make sure no one stormed out into the hallway screaming. Towanda was said to be in tears at one point, Michael Jr. was visibly shaking, and Tamar was pacing the room like a detective connecting conspiracy board strings. It wasn't just emotional, it was messy, and the kind of mess that doesn't stay private for long, especially when everyone involved is known for having strong personalities and even stronger opinions. But here's where the situation gets even more intriguing. Some insiders say there was a witness that night, someone not in the immediate family, someone who saw and heard everything. And that person? They've been quietly talking to bloggers, dropping hints without giving full details, almost like they're waiting for the right moment to expose it all. Their version of events allegedly paints a much darker picture, a picture of promises broken, secrets kept, and a confrontation that could have ended much worse if Tamar hadn't stepped in. And when you look at the way Tamar's been acting since then, the silence starts to feel strategic. Tamar is not the type to hold back when something irritates her, but this time she's been quiet in a way that feels planned, like she's sitting on information she's waiting to use. Like she knows something that could shift the entire narrative, but she's choosing not to speak. At least not yet, and that brings us to the moment everything finally spilled over for good, the moment where the tension snapped and the truth couldn't stay hidden anymore. Because once that tension snapped, there was no turning back. The Braxton house, which usually tries to keep drama behind polished veneers and carefully worded statements, suddenly felt like ground zero for a ticking time bomb. And the craziest part? Nobody expected the next twist. Not Towanda, not Michael Jr., not even Tamar, who usually catches the tea before it even starts steeping. It all started the morning after the confrontation, when everyone was still reeling from the emotional chaos of the night before. Towanda woke up to dozens of missed calls. Michael Jr. had messages blowing up his phone from people he hadn't spoken to in months. And Tamar? Tamar had an inbox full of "Is it true? Did he really say that?" girl spill, that's when it became clear. The leak from the night before had already multiplied into 10 different versions, each crazier than the last. Bloggers were calling it a blow-up over money. Some claimed it was about a hidden relationship. Others said Michael Jr. had lied about something huge. And even though none of the bloggers knew the real story, their versions traveled so fast that Towanda and Michael Jr. suddenly had to deal with rumors they didn't even create. Towanda panicked first. She hates when the public forms a narrative before she can control the story. She tried to reach Tamar to fix things privately, but Tamar didn't answer. Not a text, not a call, nothing. And that silence said everything. It wasn't anger anymore. It was disappointment. The kind of disappointment that hits differently when it comes from someone who has defended you, supported you, and fought for you in front of millions of people. Meanwhile, Michael Jr. went into damage control. He started calling everyone who might have been involved, trying to figure out where the leak came from. One insider claims he confronted a family friend directly, asking, "Who did you talk to? What did you say?" The friend allegedly denied everything, but the way they hesitated made Michael even more suspicious. Some say he even considered hiring a digital investigator to trace the audio leak. That's how paranoid he had become. And honestly, who could blame him? Once the internet gets a hold of a scandal, it doesn't just expose you, it dissects you. The tension grew even thicker when fans noticed Tamar's behavior shifting in real time. She started posting quotes about loyalty, betrayal, and protecting your peace. And because Tamar never posts something without a subliminal message behind it, the internet immediately assumed she was aiming it directly at Michael Jr. or Towanda. Comment sections exploded. People started choosing sides, forming mini armies like this was a Braxton civil war. Some were defending Towanda, saying she had every right to confront Michael. Others backed Michael Jr., arguing Towanda had overreacted. And then there were the fans who blamed Tamar, insisting she stirred the pot by getting involved. The family hadn't even spoken publicly yet. And somehow the audience already had the entire Braxton universe split into factions. But the real explosion didn't happen online. It happened privately again, when Tamar finally agreed to meet Towanda and Michael Jr. to clear the air. According to someone who claims to have overheard the conversation, Tamar didn't come to play. She reportedly walked into the room with the energy of someone who was done holding their tongue. And the first thing she said was something along the lines of, "Y'all let this get too far." And now, everybody wants answers. Towanda, already emotional, tried to explain her side. She insisted she had a right to confront Michael Jr. about the issue. That she wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. That she just wanted honesty. But Michael Jr. wasn't having it. He felt betrayed. He felt ambushed. He felt like the family had turned on him instead of supporting him. And the moment Tamar realized both sides were convinced they were the victims, the argument reignited like gasoline hitting fire. The shouting started again. Accusations flew across the room. Someone allegedly slammed a door. Someone else stormed out and stormed back in. It was chaos, the kind of chaos that can only happen when years of unresolved issues collide in one room with no mediator. Tamar, usually the one controlling the energy in a confrontation, found herself overwhelmed. She reportedly tried to stop the argument multiple times, but eventually shouted enough. Loud enough to stop everyone in their tracks. That's when the truth finally came out. Or at least the version of the truth everyone had been dancing around. Towanda admitted she felt disrespected. She felt lied to. She felt like Michael Jr. had been making big decisions that affected the family without including her. And Michael Jr. finally confessed that he had been keeping things to himself because he was tired of being judged, tired of being told what to do. Tired of living in the shadow of a famous family where every misstep turns into a headline. It wasn't about one secret. It wasn't about one deal. It wasn't about one argument. It was years of pressure, years of unspoken resentment, years of expectations none of them could meet. And once the truth was out, once the emotional floodgates opened, everything got quiet. Too quiet for a moment. Nobody spoke. Towanda cried softly. Michael Jr. stared at the floor. Tamar just stood there, looking exhausted, not angry, just tired. Like she had spent years cleaning up messes that never should have existed in the first place. And in that silence, it became obvious things were broken in a way that couldn't be fixed with a simple apology. But just when it seemed like they had reached a moment of honesty, the situation took another unexpected turn. Because while all this was happening behind closed doors, someone else, someone not even part of the argument, was preparing to drop an entirely new bombshell into the mix. A new leak, a new recording, a new set of receipts that would drag the scandal to a level none of them could have imagined, and when that new leak hit the internet, everything spiraled again because the moment that second leak hit the internet, whatever fragile piece Towanda, Tamar, and Michael Jr. had managed to build in that quiet, emotionally drained room shattered instantly. This wasn't just another rumor or a recycled clip twisted for clicks. This was fresh. This was detailed. And this time, it wasn't a muffled phone call or vague audio. It was a full-blown video clip recorded quietly in the corner of the room during their meeting, a meeting that was supposed to be private, vulnerable, and off-limits. The video wasn't long, barely a minute, but it was damaging enough to ignite a new wave of chaos. In the clip, you could hear raised voices, a few words out of context, and just enough emotional intensity to make it look 10 times worse than it actually was. Towanda sounded fed up. Michael Jr. sounded defensive. And Tamar, at one point, could be heard saying, "This is exactly why it keeps happening," which the internet immediately turned into a statement meaning everything and nothing at the same time. The clip spread fast. Within an hour, it was on every gossip page, every blog, every fan account dedicated to celebrity drama. Fans didn't even wait for context. They took that 1-minute slice and created 50 different storylines out of it. Some said Towanda exposed Michael Jr. on purpose. Others insisted Tamar leaked it to force the truth out. And then there were people claiming a mystery insider was orchestrating the entire thing for revenge or attention. The conspiracy theories got so wild that some viewers started acting like this was the Braxton version of a political scandal, but the most explosive reaction came from inside the family. Towanda was furious. Michael Jr. was devastated. And Tamar? She hit a level of frustration that even longtime fans weren't prepared for. Because it wasn't just a leak, it was a betrayal. One of them, or someone close enough to be in that room, recorded the entire meltdown without anyone knowing. And that meant the circle wasn't just broken, it was polluted. Wasn't just broken, it was polluted. Towanda allegedly called an emergency family meeting. She wanted answers. She wanted to know who had recorded it, who had leaked it, and why. No more passive-aggressive quotes. No more subliminals. No more pretending everything was fine when it clearly wasn't, but the problem was, nobody in the room trusted each other anymore. Everyone felt watched. Everyone felt exposed. And everyone was convinced the other person had something to gain from the recording going public. Michael Jr., already exhausted from days of drama, reportedly insisted he didn't record anything. He was frustrated, emotional, and confused about why anyone would even think he would put his own reputation on the line like that. Towanda didn't point fingers directly, but her questions made it clear she was suspicious of someone. And Tamar, the one who usually tries to keep the peace, refused to say a word at first. Her silence shook the room more than any argument could. Eventually, Tamar broke. She reportedly stood up, slammed her phone on the table, and said, "Stop trying to fix the leak when the real problem is the crack in the family." And that line, according to insiders, was the moment everything shifted again. Because for the first time, Tamar wasn't choosing a side. She wasn't defending Towanda. She wasn't protecting Michael Jr. She wasn't trying to take control of the narrative. She was calling everyone out, including herself. The room stayed quiet for a long time after that. Towanda cried again. This time not from anger, but from exhaustion. Michael Jr. sat down and covered his face with his hands. And Tamar just stood there looking like she was done with the entire situation. And honestly, who could blame her? She had carried years of family drama on her shoulders. always being the one people ran to when things blew up, only to end up dragged into every mess whether she wanted to be or not. In that silence, a realization sank in. This wasn't just about one leak, one argument, or one secret. This was years of unresolved tension exploding because nobody wanted to address the truth until it was too late. The family had fallen into a pattern, hiding issues, pretending everything was fine, smiling for the camera while breaking behind closed doors. And now the world had seen the cracks. But then something unexpected happened. Towanda apologized first. Not a defensive apology. Not a sorry, but a real one. She admitted she had let her emotions take over. She admitted she had felt unsupported for a long time. She admitted she should have talked to Michael calmly instead of blowing up. And that honesty caught Michael Jr. off guard. He apologized too, saying he didn't mean to shut anyone out. He just wanted to make decisions for himself without being judged. And for a moment, it looked like they were finally going to fix things. But before they could even finish the conversation, Tamar's phone started buzzing nonstop. She ignored it at first, but the buzzing kept coming. 5 messages, then 10, then 15. Finally, she picked it up and her face changed instantly. She held the phone up and showed Towanda and Michael Jr. the screen. A new headline was blowing up. Braxton legal trouble incoming. Investigation. Launched into leaked family footage. Somebody had taken the video clip, sent it around professional channels, and now there were whispers that the leak may have broken privacy laws. That meant lawyers. That meant statements. That meant the situation was no longer just family drama, it was now a full-scale legal problem. And the family wasn't ready for that. Tamar immediately went into crisis mode. She told them they needed to regroup, control the narrative, and find out who was responsible. Towanda panicked about how this could affect her public reputation. Michael Jr. started pacing, worrying about financial fallout. Suddenly, the problem wasn't emotional, it was legal and public. As they began scrambling to figure out a plan, one thing became clear. The real damage wasn't the leak itself. It was the realization that someone close enough to sit in the room with them had betrayed them. Someone had access. Someone had motive. Someone knew their weaknesses and recorded them at their most vulnerable. And the scariest part? That person still hadn't come forward. The family still doesn't know who recorded it. They still don't know what else might have been captured. And they still don't know if another leak is coming because insiders are whispering that the person behind the video didn't just take one clip, they took multiple, and only one has been released for now. And now you've seen it unfold piece by piece. The confrontation, the leaks, the betrayal, the mystery insider, and the looming legal storm that could turn this entire Braxton situation into the biggest reality family scandal of the year. But the real question is, do you think this story is even close to over? Because if one clip made the internet explode like this, imagine what happens if the rest of those recordings start dropping one by one. Imagine what happens if the truth the family is trying so hard to bury finally comes out in full daylight. And imagine what happens when the person behind these leaks decides it's time to expose everything. So now, I want to hear from you. Who do you think leaked the video? Was it an insider trying to get revenge? Or someone close enough to know all the family's secrets? Do you believe Towanda and Michael Jr. can fix this? Or is this the kind of fracture that never fully heals? And what do you think Tamar knows that she's not saying yet? Drop your theories in the comments. Like the video if you want the next update the moment it breaks. And hit subscribe, because trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.